Good morning. I want to welcome everybody. I'm Steve Parker, the president and chief editor of Profitable Dentist Magazine, excuse me. And I want to start by just thanking everybody for being here. This is a part of history, we think. I want to tell you a real quick little story about how this all started. I know a lot of you know Woody Oakes. Who knows Dr. Woody Oakes? Woody is watching from home and says hello. Hopefully he says hello a few times in our live stream. He and Travis McPhee, Dr. McPhee, started this as the nationwide dental newsletter 30 years ago. And out of that, they had a conversation one day on the way to the Chicago midwinter and said, why do we always go to dental meeting in the winter? So from that came our spring break seminar in Destin, which I think a lot of you have been to. Out of that came the Profitable Dentist Magazine, and out of that came seminars, CE, and all the things that we do today. So these guys here that you're going to meet and see all day long, they are part of sort of a new trend in dental CE. We're going to take it live. So one of the things I want to ask you to think about is, along with the people in this room, we also will have hundreds at any moment, or thousands that are watching from around the world, literally, dental professionals from around the world. So I want to thank you for being a part of that, and hope one day you can say, hey, I was there for the first one. And with that, I want to hand it off to Elijah, Jamie, and Dr. Boulden. So thank you, and enjoy the day.
You are partaking in what is a legacy. Well, you're in the room that you're in right now, or maybe you're at home watching right now, is your role in a legacy of the Profitable Dentist. Over 3 decades of this event changing lives and educating dental professionals around the world. Thousands and thousands of CE have been given to dental professionals, and hundreds of thousands of dentists over these 3 decades have been impacted by this organization, by Dr. Woody Oakes and his vision 3 decades ago, and now with Steve Parker, the president and chief editor of the Profitable Dentist Magazine. So if you're watching at home, one of the greatest things about technology now, one of the most exciting things that myself and my colleagues have been able to put together, and we've been able to see happen right now in real time in technology and dentistry as these things merge together, is live CE from your barn, or live CE from your couch, or live CE from the operatory, or live CE from a game at your family reunion. So there are hundreds, perhaps thousands of people who will be watching this. The last live event that we did, it was a live CE event. We had 50,000 dental professionals view the live event, and it is our great honor to have all of you in this room at this gorgeous facility, and all of you at home or in your barn watching and joining us for this. So what I'd like to ask you, as you're watching from home, I'd like to ask you to share this. I'd like to ask you right now, as you're part of this legacy, as you're part of this opportunity, you're part of this big moment in dentistry, would you share this into a Facebook group? Share this onto a Facebook forum. Share this link for this event, because this is something special. This is something that is a first. This is the Profitable Dentist and the legacy of all that being brought forward to today, where even more CE and even more dental professionals will be impacted. One of the things I'd like to point out to people at home is I just did a survey in the room of people who have been to a Profitable Dentist event before, an Excellence in Dentistry or a Profitable Dentist event before, and one of the participants in this room over here has been to 10 events. What I'd like to point out is that this live event is special. This live event, if you'd like to come to one of these live events with the Profitable Dentist, is the facility here not a beautiful place? Would you guys agree? Yes. Gorgeous place. The facilities are beautiful, and being able to network with colleagues here in person, being able to share ideas and share resources is unlike anything else. So if you're at home or if in your barn, we hope you enjoy this CE. If you're here in the room, enjoy and network with colleagues so that you can get the full experience and come back next year for another live event. That'll be incredible. Really, this is a gift. This gift to you guys in this room and at home, this is a gift from the Profitable Dentist carrying CE into this next era of dentistry. So if you guys would, if you're at home, I'd like you to express some appreciation and some thankfulness to Steve Parker and Dr. Woody Oakes. If you guys would stand up and give a round of applause for this gift that they have given everyone in dentistry through CE and training. Stand up with me, and would you please give a round of applause to our incredible hosts. Thank you. So Steve Parker and Dr. Woody Oakes, thank you very much for all that you do for dentistry and the legacy that you've created. Here's a question for you. A format that has worked really well, and we hope it'll help all of you at home enjoy the experience more, and everyone here in the room experience some live Q&A with hosts who get to represent your questions. So I'll introduce our first host in the middle. Who should I introduce? I'll introduce Dr. Bill Williams. Dr. Bill Williams, can we get a round of applause for Dr. Bill Williams, one of our hosts? Dr. Bill Williams is known as the $10,000 a day dentist. For years, he's been helping dentists transcend what they have known as possible in terms of production in their practices. He has a mastermind group named the 5M Mastermind, where he brings like-minded dentists together to help them rapidly accelerate in their professional and business skills. Dr. Bill Williams is here with us. Bill, would you be willing to say a couple of words as we get started?
Hey, it's good to be here at the Profitable Dentist Live Conference. It's great to be hosting with you, Jamie, and Elijah, being on stage with you again. This is going to be an event that you just will not believe what's going to happen. It's like going to Las Vegas. You're sitting in front of the slot machine and you're fixed to pull the lever. We know what's going to show up. It's going to be 3 cherries for you guys. When these speakers get up and you see what happens, you're going to be the cash winners. Your practices are going to bloom. It's going to be a great time. So all my friends out there on Facebook Live, send a text to your friends to tpdlive.com. Get all your friends to get on board. If you've got friends that aren't in this room or on Facebook Live right now, send them a text. Let's double this audience right now, because what they're going to get, it'll make my job a lot easier, because I've got friends in the audience who are going to be speaking up here, and I know what they're going to say. If you want to be a $10,000 a day dentist, all you got to do is listen to what they say, and you'll be right there all the time, every day.
Well said. Well said. And Elijah, if you've ever been on Facebook, you've probably seen something from Elijah. So Elijah Desmond is our next host here. Elijah Desmond is and Elijah's reputation online precedes him. He's got a big voice, a big following, incredible energy, which you'll see today, and it's a huge honor to have Elijah Desmond with us here today. A round of applause for Elijah Desmond.
How's everybody doing today? No. How is everybody doing today? We're gonna try one more time. Do I need to stand up? All right. How's everyone doing today? I'm happy to be here. I'm blessed to be here in your presence, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming and participating in this, both live and in person and online. And this means so much to dentistry. We are evolving the way that we are learning. We're evolving how we are changing the lives of our patients, and we're starting it here, we're starting it now. So what I'm gonna need you all to do is understand, first off, that these roles they're amazing to be in, because we get to see the best of the best come up on stage and change lives. Jamie, I want to thank you. For those of you who don't know Jamie Amos, he is the owner of Ideal Practices, and he essentially gets everyone that is interested in starting a practice, he gives them the blueprint for a practice startup. And Jamie, you're kind of like you got this voice that is just amazing to have this position in this role. Do you all love Jamie's voice? It's nice and calm, right? Whenever I get on stage, you probably have anxiety, right? Jamie calms you down. But thank you so much, Jamie. You've been great. It's going to be awesome to share this stage with you. And you know what? Let's get into some education. Who wants to learn today? Who came here to learn? There is an amazing friend of mine that I have. He is from Delray Beach, Florida. His name is Dr. Craig Spodak. Dr. Craig Spodak this morning is going to be sharing the stage with Dr. Peter Boulden. They're the owners of the Bulletproof Dental Practice. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask my DJ to get this music going so we can introduce these two and bring them to the stage. DJ, bring that music back. Come on.
How's everybody doing? Everybody feeling good? So guys, this morning you're gonna be drinking from a fire hose. We are going to literally leave it all here. We're gonna try to give you as much information as possible, and it's gonna go very, very fast. This is the time to kind of sit up in your chairs, get your pens out. We're gonna go literally a mile a minute. Because like I said, we have about an hour and a half or 2 hours of stuff.
It's not a warm-up.
This is not a warm-up. So let's talk about our practices. First of all, I want to say that dentistry is your own vision. So we're not going to sit up here today and tell you that this is about creating what we've created. This is for you to figure out your own distinct vision and execute what you think is right for your own profession and your own practice. If you are a solo dentist practicing in a rural area of the United States and that's how you want to live, that is totally cool as long as you're fulfilled and happy. We have very different approaches on our practices. You know, my office is a 13,000 square foot multidisciplinary facility. I dreamt it like 10 or 15 years ago. I said, this is what I want to practice, this is how I want to practice, but this is my personal thing. I know lots of guys that practice solo without the 50 employees and 10 doctors, and they make a lot more money than I do. So Pete teases me all the time. He says, do you run a nonprofit?
It's a not-for-profit.
I do have a non-for-profit, but we also have a profit as well. So Pete, go into your practice for a second.
Yeah, so I run a company called Atlanta Dental Spa. I have 4 locations, so I like the kind of multi-location model where we're kind of going through the people. I live in Atlanta, obviously, and so, you know, like Craig said, we have different models, but still we talk about the same best practices to each other because the business still applies.
It absolutely does. So Atlanta Dental Spot, you can see that's on the lower right portion of the screen. That's his newest location, the Highlands. It's super cool. It's like a retail environment. You know, there's all this walkable traffic around. At the top, he's got a bar upstairs. And how old is that practice, that Highlands location?
It's about 5 months been open.
It's a de novo, right? You didn't buy it from anybody? So that's Pete's thing, and that's mine. A LEED certified facility, 85% is day-lit. I dreamt up a whole bunch of crazy ideas. Between Pete and I, we have what I'd like to consider about a $15 million MBA because we've made so many freaking mistakes. And our goal here is we can prevent you from making some of those same mistakes that we did, we feel an immense sense of completion and value from today. So that's basically, between the two of us, our practices amount to we have a ton of challenges, a ton of resources, and our goal is to just share that today. So the first thing that we want to talk about is this. Everybody talks about your expenses, your P&L. And on your P&L, the largest percentage of your P&L, your profit and loss, is your team. If you're doing it really, really lean, you might be 20% or 25%. But for most of us, between team salaries and expenses, insurance and employment costs, you're looking at over 30%. So don't look at that as just an expense line item. That's your truest asset. Your most valuable capital is not your cone beam or your CEREC machine. It's your human capital. Because what you appreciate appreciates, and you can actually leverage that capital. How many people in this audience today are team members? Raise your hand, nice and proud. Give a big hand for all the team members. Because without them, we'd be nothing. We have this feeling, many doctors or dentists rather go to school and they figure they know how to do everything. They know how the front should be handled, how the sterilization should be handled. We don't know jack. Because we're not really there. We don't really know the true problems we're all facing. So get out of your team's way. Set the intention, set the result for what you want to create, and then get out of their way, because we over-process our team so much, and that's one thing in dentistry. Pete and I are always talking that an idea in business that comes down to dentistry, like a mediocre idea in general business that comes to dentistry, is freaking revolutionary. I believe that business is like 10 or 15 years ahead of dentistry. Because in business right now, they're talking about engagement, this buzzword. It means for your employees actually giving a crap, your people actually giving a crap. Because right now in America, 85% of people that have a job currently are looking to move and get another job. So 85% of our employees in our practices, we have a 10 employee practice, 8.5. So that short hygienist you have, that's the 0.5. She's actually looking for another job right now.
And you can always tell by how often they're updating their LinkedIn page. Just kidding, just telling you.
That's fine.
Just kidding.
So it's team first and not just patient first. The old adage in business was the customer's always right. And I want to postulate that it's not the customer that's right, it's the team that has to go first. If you put your team ahead of your patients, if you actually prioritize team happiness, then I think your practice is going to thrive. And it's unfortunate that in the employer-employee relationship, the only currency we can discuss is money. Imagine in like a friendship like ours, or like with your spouse, you said, hey, really good job tonight, honey.
Whoa.
Here's $200. Or hey, Pete, I really appreciate your friendship. Here's a $150 bonus. It doesn't feel as good. We talk about in my office terms, TERMS, time, experience, recognition, money, and stuff, because everybody has a different thing. I've made the mistake of telling my supply coordinator, the person who orders the supplies in my office, our supplies, if you can reduce it by X numbers of thousands of dollars, I'll give you money. And she got offended. It's like, I do that because I love what I do. And it was a very good lesson because I'm always quick to throw money at people, and
Because you think that's someone's primary motivator, and it's not, as we're learning, especially in newer generations coming. It's not, money is not the motivator for a lot of people. It's, it's accomplishment and fulfillment, and like you're alluding to.
Yeah.
So there's this big shift from it where it was like patient first and customer's always right, and we feel this pendulum is kind of switching, where it's, the team is first, and we need to protect that culture which we've created and not let toxic things come into our environment. So it's really important to protect the environment in which we've created.
And also you can offer your people different types of things. They may just want time off. They may just want experiences. One of my key people, Erica, she wanted to do an HR conference out in Phoenix. It was like for COOs. It was a general business conference. It meant a lot to her. And that was an experience that was very rich. And the thing is like, people will never remember the $200 or $300 bonus check they got. It means something, but it goes right to bills. So let's talk about the team first. So up here you have a couple screenshots. We have an intra-office Facebook page. Is that inter or intra?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, it's a Facebook page that only exists for us. So if you don't know how to do that, that's a private group. If you don't know how to do something on Facebook, don't worry, because if you employ someone under the age of 40, you have a person that's very prolific in your office on Facebook already, you're paying her to do it, it's just not your frickin' Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. She's doing it anyway.
She's doing it anyway. So she could be the director of social media in your office. How many people here have an unofficial director of social media in their office? It's just not the office Facebook page. I have many in my office.
Yeah.
So have them do this, create a private Facebook page that's just for your employees, just for your team members. And I want to talk about our SDG Bucks program, because you'll see thank you so much for my SDG Bucks. That stands for Spodak Dental Group Bucks. Every month, $50 bill goes out to every employee. And by the end of the month, they have to hand it out to someone who's really shining, someone who's doing amazing. If they don't hand it out because they forget or they run out of time, they lose what was given to them. You can't redeem these dollars for cash, because like we talked about, money doesn't really mean a lot, and they'll forget about it. You can only redeem it for experiences. So we have line level people that are in sterilization that might be making, minimum wage or just a little over that, maybe 10, 12 bucks an hour. But they can accumulate thousands of dollars of these reward bucks from their team members and go on an epic vacation to like Disney World or come to a place like this, things they would never splurge on themselves, and they'll remember that for the rest of their lives. And the funny thing is some people have $3,000 in reward dollars and other people have $0. So when the people that have $0, they're not gonna come to me and say, hey doc, this is kind of unfortunate, I have $0. I would just say, wow, that's interesting. It's not like, this whole idea that the boss gives you a gold star doesn't really mean a lot. Peer-to-peer recognition is massive. Thank you, buddy. So, just that program alone shifts so much culture, and it's so cool. And actually, Pete, you're doing the same thing right now.
Yeah, I did. I stole that from you, and we've deployed that the same way in our practice, and it's just been really cool to, give acknowledgement amongst our kind of tribe who's really performing. And Craig's like, it's the ultimate meritocracy. Like if you're getting $0, like that sounds like a you problem, not a oh doctor, you didn't give me any acknowledgement. Like it's total meritocracy. It's
and I mean, look, and millennials, let's talk about you guys. How many people in the room are born from 1983 to about 2000? Raise your hands. Be proud, millennials. You've gotten trophies your whole life. Raise your hand. So here's the real meritocracy. When your peers recognize you, and by the way, I love millennials. We actually love them. It's just they won't work for a paycheck. They work for meaning. So for those of us doctors who are older generation like Pete and I, or maybe even older, it's a different work ethic. It doesn't mean that they're not dedicated. It doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean they're not going to show up, to do it. They've got to do it for more than just a paycheck. I think my generation, we were just good at faking it. We were just good at making people think we're busy. These people are just not going to tell you that. They're like, I'm not going to do that. So anyway, this is what Team First looks like. So you've got a person here saying, guys, this couldn't wait. It's 5:45 on a Friday, and we're all still here. And Dr. Mike drove our last patient home, and all the patients are grateful. And and it says, all this, get her done. I don't even know what she said. But then the doctor, Juan Carlos Arroyo, says, thank you so much for the recognition. It's moments like this that define us as a team. So this is the epitome of our culture. And people are talking in the dental circuit right now about cultures like what? Like we were talking yesterday?
Yeah, culture is not, we get confused with culture. It's not the cookies that you're providing and the swag that you're giving away and the pretty office environment. Really, a culture is a kind of creating that alignment in the vision that you had. And again, I kind of talked about it's that safe place and keeping that safe place and that safe culture for your team. I mean, that's truly the culture. It's not the swag, which sometimes we get it confused.
Yep, giving out chapstick is not culture. It's part of it, I mean, but it's not culture.
I mean, it's cool.
It is cool. We give out chapstick, but
Chapstick.
Yeah, everybody loves chapstick. So that's team first. I want to talk about Yvette. Yvette is a hygienist who's been with me for 9 years. She is such an inspiration. The woman is battling cancer, and every day she comes to work happy. She says, I love my job, I love being with you people. Because let's face it, when you're sick and you're in a hospital, you're getting chemotherapy, being normal is something that's such a blessing. Just to come to work and act normal, to put on, a uniform and get dressed and get out of bed, it's her happy place. And we created a program where I told the team members, if you donate your paid time off days, meaning you just give them, I will double the match. I will literally, the amount of money that we're going to be paying you, I'll double it. We created a GoFundMe for her. We created almost $18,000 of GoFundMe money. And it's just inspirational. We take care of each other because that's community. Team is a great aspiration. A lot of dental practices are talking about teams. Teams are groups of people organized around a task, which is awesome. But a community is a group of people organized around a relationship. That's what we want to strive for. That's what we're talking about here. So let's talk about a little bit more. We do videos. Pete, you love videos. I actually stole this from Pete. So Pete, you did a video for training and some?
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of videos across the board, whether it's a marketing or internal training, because you can do it right, do it one time, and you really are scaling your time. You're not having to do that. You're not having to have that conversation over and over again. You're not having to train that person over again. It's really do it quality one time, and then you have that in perpetuity for your team. And it's so I'm a big fan of that, and I did kind of push you towards this for sure.
And by the way, we're not talking about professional video stuff here. We're talking about iPhone stuff.
Yeah, iPhone.
Literally, these videos were Jessica and Amanda doing mock phone calls because we had a Yelp review that someone said, because we have a hybrid practice where we're PPO and out of network depending on the doctor. So we have to handle very difficult calls, like are you in network or not in network? So there's always parameters and nuances to those calls. And we don't want to over-script it. I don't really believe in scripting because I call AT&T customer service and I know what the script is when I talk to a guy named Tim in Indonesia. And it doesn't feel authentic. So I don't want to script people. I want people to be natural. And I also want people to revolve around our core values. So I don't care what you do or how you do it, as long as I understand the why you did it. So if you were trying to take the very best care of a patient or do what's right, I don't care really how you did it. Sometimes I do care, like when a person's upset about the $38 fluoride charge, and then the administrative person decides to credit the entire prophy visit as a courtesy. I'm like, that was a little bit more than I'd want, but I don't want to get people in trouble because I applaud people for taking their own initiative to think outside the box. But these are great. These videos are awesome. So anything that's a problem, grab the person who's great at it. If you have two hygienists, one is awesome at SRP and getting patients to accept or getting people to accept Arrestin, and the other one not so much, have that one do a video or get one-on-one training. If you have a small office, 5 or 7 people, maybe you don't need to do videos. But over time, you think your culture will be diminished as you add people. You want to really do that. So this is the one thing I'm proud about. I know I've been doing a lot of the talking. We have kind of a split up approach. So it's going to be me in the beginning and Pete at the end. So the Invisible team is really cool. So this is something I'm very proud of. So we adopted this idea of self-management. I know it's a buzzword. It can also be called distributed decision making. So basically, it's a flat org chart. It's not me, the doctor, who's the almighty know-it-all. Because frankly, with 50 team members and 10 different doctors, I don't know how our phones are answered. I don't know how I can perform this stuff. I really don't. But I know the result I want to get to. I know I want to have people show up. So we don't have a protocol that everybody needs to be called and definitely can be orange or blue or whatever your confirmation code is. Our result is we want people to show up. If your result is make sure everybody's blue, then everybody will be confirmed that you might not get people to show up to your appointments. And we use a software called that will show who's showing up to their appointments and cancellation initially. So the Invisible team was a group of people about 6 years ago doing Invisalign and trying to do about 25 or 30 cases per year. And I said, wow, this is so cool. My patients are so happy. I want to do more of this. So a group of people, 4 or 5 people got together and said, hey, we're going to take it to 50 cases in 1 year. And I wanted to tell them that's all BS, you can't do it, but I decided to be quiet. And I said, well, that'd be great. If you did that, we could celebrate it. We were like, a hotel for a weekend with the whole team. They just ran the whole thing. And needless to say, 6 months and 50 cases, we all went to the Ritz-Carlton in Key State, Florida, and I blew all the profit when I made some of those extra 50 cases.
Let's take all
Seemed
the
like a
12.
good idea.
Yeah, you got a big heart, man.
See,
You got a big
Pete,
heart.
being friends with Pete, he's told me not to do things like that. So we actually celebrated, and 6 months later, the goal was to double it, go to 100 cases, top 1%. So, top 1%. Gary, that's top 1%, right? 100 cases. So I was like, there's no freaking way. And they hit it. They put down protocols and systems. They tagged everybody in the patient the chart in that morning. Who has lower anterior crowding? Who's talked about it before? Who has orthodontic benefit? So I would literally know in the beginning of the day who these patients targeted were. And I didn't do crap. I didn't do anything.
They just wound you up.
They just wound me up and pointed me in the room. And as most of you can tell by now, I got a lot of energy. And they just point me in the room like, Invisalign.
You need a smile.
Yeah, you need to smile. So we were just doing it like crazy. And now I'm really proud to say we're doing 220 cases. And everybody asks me, how do we do it? I say, I have no freaking idea. But I could tell you, I could park you with my Invisalign team. I could have you spend the day. And we have a lot of dentists come down to Florida and spend the day with our practice. And we see big number shifts. Pete sent one of his doctors down. I do like one-on-one training. I don't do it for a fee. I just do it because I want to be open and help dentistry. But that's a really cool thing because they put together the vision, the budget, and everything. And they also put together a compensation program. They said, if we do this, can you afford this? And I learned from the Ritz-Carlton that I couldn't blow all the profit. So I said, yes, I can afford to give you this much money. And the funny thing is there was 5 people on the Invisalign team, right? One of them never showed up to any of the meetings, didn't do crap. And they sat down to distribute the bonus because it was all up to them. I thought they'll figure out how it should be distributed. And then Christy says, hey guys, I gotta be honest here. Well, what's up? I didn't really show up at any of the meetings. And I feel kind of weird taking my share. And all the girls looked at her and said, you know what, Christy? You're right. You're totally right. You should be voted off the team. Imagine if the boss did that. Be like, I have a lawsuit or something like that.
Yeah.
But this idea that people being adult and actually holding up to a result is something so incredible. I'm really proud of that aspect of it.
So all of this, that we're talking about, the team and the investment in the team, all of this has real tangible benefits towards the bottom line. It's not just a kumbaya, let's make everybody feel good. Like all this stuff translate into increased productivity, increased retention of your team, and then ultimately it impacts your bottom line and makes you a healthier practice/business.
Yeah, and this is what business in general is talking about right now.
For sure.
So if you guys, Pete's a big fanboy of Gary Vee. Guy curses a lot and jumps around and lots of coffee.
Right.
Also Simon Sinek. I had the really beautiful pleasure of spending a week with Richard Branson on this island, and you see they're all talking about employee engagement. It's going to come to dentistry. It's really important because you can spend your ass off in advertising, get the phones ringing like crazy, but if your people don't love your office, if your team is not a raving fan of your office first, no one else will ever love it. And like Pete said, this is not woo-woo crap. This is real deal. This is statistically shown to actually move the needle.
The important thing in this slide to talk about really is that there's been studies on this, and Dale Carnegie's Institute confirmed that companies with engaged teams outperform those with unengaged teams by 200%. So this is real data that can translate, like I said, for the business benefit.
So remember, we told you that your team's expenditure is the largest category on your P&L. Sometimes up to 30, but it's an expense, really. So if you can actually double the productivity, 202%, how do you do that with your CEREC? Let me know how I can make it 202% better. Or how do I make my printer 202% better? You can't. It is what it is. But if you said you can make your machine perform 200% better, you'd be all over it. So why are we not leveraging our team? And I want to kudos the doctors that invested and brought their teams here today because that's huge. Because all of us doctors go away for our CE, come back raring to go, and then on Monday morning it's like, oh, he went to that CE again. Give him 3 days, it'll all be out of his mind. Doc went to that thing again.
Yeah.
So really invest in them. And it all starts from the top. I love this quote by Saint-Exupéry, I think is how you say it. If you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood. Don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the immensity of the sea. So it is our job as leaders. I'm very proud.
You're a fanboy.
My fanboy. I'm a Tony Robbins
He has
junkie.
the same kind of microphone on because he's channeling Tony right now.
No, I'm not trying to channel Tony. I could never channel Tony. But Tony's a patient in the practice and a friend of mine, and I'm very blessed to have that. But he has a saying. He said, the chokehold on your business is always the leader. 80% psychology and 20% skills, but it's always you. I have an immense sense of ownership in what's going on in my practice. At this particular moment in my practice, I'm feeling not so great because some things are going wrong, and it's really weighing on me very heavily. So I believe that it's our responsibility as the leaders and owners of the practices to set the tone. If you come in on a Monday morning like, oh, it's freaking Monday, let me get the coffee, your team is screwed. You're shafted. They'll never exceed your energy level. You got to put on in a state that you can actually lead the team. And it's not going out and getting more courses on how to prep better or do your endo better, because that's not going to affect your team. I mean, we're all making an assumption that your clinical dentistry needs to be exceptional. It needs to be exceptional. We have an ethical and moral responsibility to refine our craft. And it's unfortunate that patients can't judge our margins. I would love it.
Great.
I know wonderful dentists that prep teeth beautifully and they're failing. And I know really, really crappy dentists that are
doing well.
They're killing it. So, but your leadership needs to be worked on. It's really important. It's good to have blind feedback. What Peter and I have done really carefully is like we've created an atmosphere in our office that we can curate safe feedback, like SurveyMonkey or sending blind surveys that are anonymous, and people will actually tell you some really harsh crap.
What's going on, what's wrong, what's broken in the practice, and hearing it is sometimes hard medicine. But if you don't constantly audit where you are in your situation, like you're either growing or you're contracting, but you got to pick one of them. There's no such thing as coasting. So these kind of things are just growth exercises that you have to keep doing. And sometimes it's hard to hear, like your team thinks you're a jerk on Monday morning.
Yeah.
But you got to fix that, or else it's going to be systemic in your practice.
Yeah, if like 5 people in your practice say that you're distracted and you don't listen to them and you have ADD,
right,
it's probably pretty true. And then my wife tells me that, I'm like, yeah, it's time to correct that.
Get off your social media, Greg.
Yeah, I just deleted my Facebook. Sorry, Elijah, I know it's all about Facebook, I just deleted it. So, Pete, jump on.
So we'll go into this. This is gonna go into marketing a little bit, but it's still in the column of the team or the silo of the team, because really the best kind of marketing is done from amplifying your team or the culture that's been created by your team. And so I'm going to jump into this. This is a quote I say pretty often, that attention-based marketing should be the primary focus of all your marketing objectives. And here's what the day and age we're living in. 2005, everyone was actually enjoying things and looking at experiences through their eyeballs. Nowadays, everyone's looking through their phone. If you walk through an airport, I walked through an airport yesterday, and I always do this in airports for some reason. I walk through and just look at the heads, and everybody is sitting down doing this. So you have to go where the eyeballs are in your marketing, and so you have to become super proficient in your marketing efforts. So you want to those are the venues in which you want to amplify. So really dive into learning on how to kind of capture attention, because attention, once you capture attention, there's a high correlation to high conversions, which again gets to the bottom line. We always have a lot of people that come and say, hey, I want to rack your brain 5 minutes, and what are you doing for marketing?
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a magic wand that like, oh, all you gotta do is go to this website, and then you send out this email, and that'll fix everything. But really the best marketing is done through amplification of what you've already created, right? Like put the spotlight. And so that's why social media has become this predominant force in marketing, where it used to be like, yeah, we have a social media page and, we outsource it and, we put up some Garfield photos of teeth on Wednesday and like, we have zero engagement. Like, no kidding, right?
Yeah, I want to talk about this for just 1 second, because if your team doesn't love your office, no one's going to love it. And Pete was the one responsible, I think in 2005, I heard him say, what about social media? You said that.
Yeah, so I remember actually being on stage lecturing in marketing back in 2005, thinking I had it all figured out and saying like, social media has no place in dentistry. It doesn't work. Like you need to be creating links and backlinks and doing this and all these crazy tactics. And literally history proved me super wrong. And so it's almost 50% of what I focus on in marketing, and I do all the marketing for all of my practices. And it's literally become that big, and it's embarrassing to look back when I look at that lecture and be like, God, you think you had it figured out, and it's such a big component, and it's really the internet. We say it's social media, but it's truly just the internet now. Like it's just internet 2.0 is what it is. It's not social media, it's just part of our fabric.
And by the way, like you could advertise your way out of anything 10 or 15 years ago.
10 years ago, for
sure.
sure.
You could spend $1 million on TV ads, and you could like hype everybody to believe you're the best.
But now with reviews,
yeah,
like Amazon has changed the game. Everyone's used to getting social proofing. right? Like we know, like, you know, I buy a pencil sharpener and it's like, which one had the highest reviews on Amazon?
Yeah, it's a $5 pencil sharpener, but you still want to buy the highest rated review.
It's about the reputation management, and you're right. You could spam your way through 10 years ago, but today's day and age, you literally have to have the chops to stay at the top.
And it's not just the reviews. I want to bring it back to this slide. It's a team culture thing. You know, if your team doesn't love your office, no one else is going to love it. Anybody ever gone to a restaurant, let's say like a bigger corporate type of restaurant, and you say, hey, what's the best thing on the menu? Talk to me about the fish. And they say, well, honestly, I've been working here 2 years. I've never actually eaten here. You ever had that happen? Or go to another restaurant and say, hey, what's the fish of the day? And she's like, oh my God, my cousin Jimmy, he's a spearfisher. He goes out, and the chef hired him to go out in the morning and catch his own fish. And the fish came in, it's amazing. I think we only have 2 left. I mean, that cannot be faked. That is real. That's a real engagement. You can't script that crap. It just won't come out properly. But that's what people are expecting. They're expecting that experience. And people always think that, oh, Craig and Pete, they're brilliant marketers. Can I come down and pick your marketing? What are you doing for marketing? I'm like, what marketing? What are you talking about? Like exactly what? I don't have a magazine ad. I don't have a blah, blah, blah. But the easy button is to say it's just marketing. And It's not. It's hard as hell. You got to do it all. And it kind of sucks that it's so hard. Because when my dad was a dentist, you know, I'm a 3rd generation dentist. My dad practiced. He just needed a place to sit and a place to spit and put a shingle on the wall, and things started happening.
And it was referrals from the community, right?
Right. And you know, it would just be great because people actually used to socialize. They go play cards together and say, oh, I'm a little numb. Well, where'd you go? I went to the dentist today. But that's happening. That card conversation, that dinner conversation is happening online now. So don't you got to be a big part of that.
Going back to the social media, it's really a place to have fun. It's not a place to say 30% off your Invisalign today. It's not the megaphone. People are using social media as their form of entertainment, and if you don't provide value, they're gonna get mad. If you put up Garfield pictures or smiling teeth or something that's not adding value to their life or entertainment or whatever, the punishment will be
unfollow you or
unfollow you.
Don't do push marketing. Don't push it out. Don't do 500 off Invisalign. Don't do that, not in your social feed. We all have that friend that used to post all the time and say, oh, it's Monday, SMH. You know, we just unfriend that girl. Because like, I can't handle your negativity. My kids are crying, I can't deal with you. So it's the same thing with your practice. Don't intrude your BS into my news feed. We're gonna unfriend you, unfollow you. It's all about adding value. Like Pete always says, I want my 5 seconds back.
You will.
You made me read your shit for 5 seconds.
And I want it back, right? I'm angry. I want that 5 seconds back. I didn't need to see Garfield with a floss in his hand.
Exactly.
So I talked earlier about social influencing, and I think that is the most underpriced attention there is in social media, and I think that's going to be a strong tactic moving forward in our society, in our marketing and dentistry. And we want to leverage the people that are inside of our practice to help propel that in a social proof kind of way. So this is someone that's been in Atlanta, and she has millions of followers, and she's a patient of mine, and so she says it publicly. And it's just, it can categorically change the direction of your practice, you know, because a lot of people get that social proofing and they want to, you know, join the practice as well. Craig's got the same thing.
Yeah, when Tony left the practice for the first time, he's like, hey, do you mind if I put something on my Facebook that you're my dentist? I'm like, yeah, Tony, let me think about that one.
Okay, go ahead, Tony.
Yeah. And he's like, can I get a social quotable? Can you put something out? I'm like, honestly, it's just such a blessing to have you here. Do whatever you want. And he wrote this amazing thing about the practice. And John Carlos Stanton, he used to be a Miami Marlin. Now he's a Yankee. He's the highest paid athlete in the history of sports, $350 million. He got hit with a high-pitched fastball to his mouth in 2014, broke all of his teeth. And because we had CEREC technology, we were able to repair him in one day. And we created a charity together, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it's a cool partnership. But the reason why we created a charity together is not because it was crafted out of the ether. It's because we're a charitable organization. You'll see about that in a minute. It's part of our culture. He could feel it and see it. And it's important that you have something like that. And Americans don't trust advertising anymore. We've been through a generation where 4 to 5 doctors recommended Camel cigarettes, and that this is good for you, now it's bad for you, and people just don't trust it anymore.
It's become spam and noise, right? And people are trying to filter through to find the right decision, something that's going to increase the quality of their life, and that's really what it boils down to. What is it? How much does it cost? And how can it improve my life? So this is a little tool. I go back to the social influencing thing. This is a tool if anyone ever wants to use it. I've used it a few times to find any kind of social influencers that may be in their area to do outreach and just say, hey, Do you like your smile or whatever? Like I use some of my marketing budget to actually provide services for people who are influential. A couple veneers here, some Invisalign, maybe just cleanings, but come to the practice, be an ambassador of our practice because you can influence people at scale. Guys.
And it doesn't cost, I mean, look, if you're willing to spend $600 or $1,000 on a glossy magazine ad that's just completely going to be drowned out in the noise, why don't you might just have a mom. It doesn't need to be a Tony Robbins. It doesn't need to be any of that stuff. You might just have a mom in your community that just happens to have 5,000 Instagram followers because she talks about her banana bread recipe. We're not talking about celebrities here. We're talking about influential people. So maybe it's the person that runs up the junior league or she heads up the Girl Scout troop. It doesn't really matter. Just dig deep and find someone that has credibility and influence and take care of that person. That person's your ambassador.
Yep. And so here's a platform. You want to make sure that if you're doing this, you're creating all this engagement on the team side. You want to also create it on your patient side and people who are engaged. So use platforms that you can really be paying attention to something on one unified platform like Hootsuite. So if someone's replying or commenting, you don't want to just go dark on them. You want to engage them just like you've engaged your team, and it'd be this big online conversation where you look very active. So Hootsuite is good for kind of consolidating all the platforms in one.
By the way, you'll know if your social media is working or not by the number of likes or comments you get. I know there's a lot of review companies out there. I don't have to name names, but they want you to post the review directly to your newsfeed.
Do not do that.
I see people who do that, and I've actually talked to the head of these companies, like, why don't you do that? I'm like, look at this Facebook page.
That's
another
spam.
review, another review, another review. No one's liking or commenting. So if you don't have a conversation, a like or a comment, other than your mom and your people that work in your office, get your crap off your Facebook page, change it up. You've got to engage people in conversations. So it's not about $500 off Invisalign, it's what do you think of this result? Kim's been with us for 2 years. What do you love about Kim? Get people involved in a conversation. So just that's a good audit. Look down your newsfeed and see if there's a conversation cooking. Community, we talked about that. Group of people centered around a task as a team. That's what I think most dental practices are aspiring to, a good team. Business 2018 is not about team anymore. They're about community. They're about community. And the brand loyalty, when you look at companies like Google and the people that live there, they worship that. Talk about culture, what you said about culture to me yesterday.
So the culture of your practice should be a little bit more than a business and less than a religion. It should fall somewhere in being a cult, right? Like everyone wants to align with the cult. Like, oh, you know what? I have Apple products, or, you know, I'm an Amazon Primer, or I'm a Super Yelper. Like everyone, you know, those are cult-like companies that are doing dramatically well in our day and age.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's the culture that you want to strive for, is being a little bit cult-like. You know, that may have a bad connotation, but
I know it does, but that's what business is talking about now, guys. That's what people in the business world are talking about right now. It's going to come to dentistry in 3 or 5 years, but you have to have that loyalty. No one has a Hewlett-Packard sticker on their Volkswagen.
Or tattoo.
Yeah,
Right?
people have
no
Apple
HP
tattoos. People have it. Look around this room. There's so much branding. People display their Starbucks cup so proudly. So it's really about your community. And then giving back is a huge difference. So Pete, go into ADS Cares.
So we have this program at my practice. This is called ADS Cares, and it's pretty cool, and it's something I've been really proud of. Here's how it works. If we hit certain thresholds in the practice through productivity, we're going to give a portion of that to the charity that the team chose that month. So it happens in the first of the month. Everyone kind of votes through a Survey Monkey or something like that. We vote on the charity in which we're all going to align with that month. And then we drive forth the goal through providing awesome care to people, which then we can then write these big checks, literally and figuratively, big checks to the charity of our choice. And it's just, everyone gets super excited about being able to give back. Because in the end, you know, we feel better about giving than we do getting.
Of course. The true getting is in the giving. It's very true, and we see that all the time. So don't think of this, you're seeing big pictures, a lot of people. Don't worry about how many people you have. Please, no one in this room start saying, well, we have 3 or 4 or 2. It doesn't matter. If you make a difference, it's all that matters. So the reason why I started is one of my doctors has been with me for 9 years, Tiffany. She's like, we should get involved in charity. Let's go do a Habitat for Humanity build. So we're up on a roof smacking nails and a bunch of dentists, and I'm not that coordinated with a hammer. I know I look pretty rugged and all that, but I don't.
Yeah.
So I'm smacking nails into a roof, and the lady that we're building a house for is like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm a dentist. She's like, I have terrible tooth pain, blah, blah. And I'm like, this is crazy. So we just started doing free dental days, and we did a beach cleanup. It was like 3 people grabbing trash on the ground, and now it's hundreds of people, multi-business sponsorship with all these different local businesses. It's really cool. One thing I'm really proud of, Nez, can you roll this one? John Carlos Stanton and I started a 501c3. We don't have time for all the video, but I do want to show you just what we're doing. Our goal is to eradicate children's dental decay, and it's a partnership with John Carlos and the Miami Marlins. It's really cool. Or actually the MLB now, because he's now a Yankee.
A lot of these kids, this will be their very first dental experience ever.
Hey, how we doing, buddy? Good? We thought of this foundation and this idea to help kids, help expand, and bring awareness.
We took it upon ourselves to step up and take care of the kids that desperately need our help. So today is our second annual event, but the goal is to make a national affiliate of dentists that are providing this level of care so that we can literally affect hundreds of thousands of children. Good morning. And we're gonna look at your teeth and make sure your teeth are totally healthy. The number one reason why a child will visit the emergency room, the number one reason why a child will miss school is because of a dental issue. We got into our profession to help people, and a day like today just really reconnects us to the purpose of why we did it. You know, you get burnt out because you forget why you do it. So a day like today reinvigorates the team and myself.
We had close to 200 students that received a free dental screening, and now if they have any dental work that needs to be done, that service will be taken care of for them.
Well done.
Say hi to AJ. Hi, AJ.
We got to use our platform in a positive way, not just be another person on Instagram or another athlete in the league. So this is very important, and the way these guys talk about it, you can see how passionate they are, and everybody here that's helping out.
You know, you feel like you're actually giving back, and it's great. It's a really good feeling.
It was a great day. We took care of a lot of kids, and there was a lot of happiness going on, a lot of fun, a lot of dancing, a lot of celebration, and most importantly, a lot of teeth being cleaned. Hopefully we touched a lot of lives today, and we're going to continue it throughout the years.
Together we can step up and eradicate children's dental disease. There's no reason why in this country kids should be in pain and not being treated. We got hundreds of thousands of children in your backyard, in your municipality that need your help. So I'm imploring you, I'm encouraging you to step up, get involved, allstarsmiles.org. Let's fix this, guys.
If you want to get involved, I'd love to have you as an affiliate dentist, and maybe get an MLB player, an athlete to your office. It's allstarsmiles.org. But your team and your culture is really the most important thing to adapt your business strategy. I was joking with Peter, like we should go in the pizza business because we've worked so hard on our teams that if we opened up a pizza shop, it'd probably be a pretty badass pizza shop. And I want to talk to you about two quick things before we end. In this last bit. So Pete and I have been, unfortunately, a victim of the predatory practices that a lot of dentists have been afflicted with. And one of the things is dentists, we want to take care of our teams. We're huge providers of 401k. How many people in this room have a 401k in their office? A lot of us. That's really aberrant.
It's an awesome benefit for your team.
It's a really aberrant thing because most businesses do not do that for their people. But we want long-term people, and that's how dentistry treats their people, which is I'm really proud of that. But if you have your 401k provider, if you're the plan sponsor, the plan owner, you have a fiduciary responsibility, a legal responsibility to check the fees to make sure they're not out of line. I didn't want to do that because my guy's a friend of mine, and we hang out together, and he brings me donuts, and I love the guy. But one of my people read Tony Robbins' book, and it said something about checking your fees, and she kind of pushed me, and I talked to somebody, I'm like, hey man, they told me you have a legal responsibility.
And it makes a huge difference. Like we think, like I just thought to myself when I looked at my plan, like a 0.5% here doesn't really matter. It makes a massive difference for your team in the end, right?
Yeah,
like,
by the way, my fees were 2.87%.
Whoa.
Now they're 0.5%. So the difference in my plan, yeah, non-for-profit, exactly. The difference for me is $1.4 million of savings. So I'm not saying to use this company, but I'm saying you can check your fees. Tony Robbins has provided free books for everybody in this practice as long as you're willing to do a fee disclosure. So when you request a fee disclosure from your 401k company, it's normally a 50-page document, which you'll never be able to navigate. But if you go to freetonybook.com, you can disclose your fees and find out exactly what you're paying.
it's worth it. It's worth it.
It's worth it. And if you like what we're saying,
Yeah, so we are actually having a summit in October. If you want to come to Atlanta, we're having a summit with 70 people. We're going to kind of go over the 4 pillars of what we think makes a practice bulletproof. It's going to be at the St. Regis in Atlanta. It's going to be awesome. And it's going to have a 10x guarantee. So we wanted to provide a guarantee because we hadn't really heard that in conferences. And basically, the guarantee is
if you don't do 10 times more revenue, 10 times more than what you spent in the next 6 months, we want to give you your money back. We've got
attending
nothing.
the conference and the trip and the travel. If you don't 10x your investment, Get your money back, no problem.
And by the way, there's nothing to sell at the Bulletproof Dental Practice Summit. It is not series 1 of a 5-part series and sign up on this thing or a ClickFunnels. It is it. We're leaving it all on the table. It's every secret we know, not 45 minutes of it, but a full 2 days of everything we know. Bring your team. We're limiting it to 70 people because we want to create a masterminding group. Before the registration page was literally released, we had 2 people that hacked it. I don't know what they did, but they found it and they registered. So we're almost full. But if you're interested in attending, we'd love to see you there in Atlanta in October. So thank you so much.
Thanks for your time. We are out of time.
We're out of time.
Blessed to be here, and yeah, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Oh no, we got questions. We have questions.
Yeah, so here's what we're going to do now. The format for this event is special in the sense that now we're going to turn the tables. Okay. And the turning of the tables happens to be this big table, that big table, and the enormous table on Facebook. So the tables are turning where now we get to ask you guys a couple of questions so that people can pepper you with some ideas. But I also want to give away a couple of top takeaways. First of all, great work, guys. I mean, awesome performance, awesome energy, amazing content. Would you guys agree? That was an intense amount of content in a short amount of time. Was that impressive? Round of applause for these guys. My biggest takeaway of lots of things that I wrote down was the concept of community, not team. I think many dental professionals will feel like they're progressive by calling their staff team. You guys have taken it from staff to team to community, and that's really powerful. The opportunities there are really powerful. Thank you.
Like staph infection, like we just get rid of that vernacular out of our thing. That's just not. It's not cool anymore.
Really good.
My front desk.
Bill?
My front desk. What's wrong with it? It's broken.
Bill, what's your top takeaway?
Is he going to go more multi-specialty single office, or is he going to go multiple practice and grow a herd of dental practices?
Well, it depends what your end game is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It depends what your outcome is, right? Because I think Craig's going to have it right. I think history's going to prove his model more correct than multi-location. Just in full disclosure. I think the model of the dental hospital, the consolidation that's going to happen, the convenience, the easy button, the Amazon model of dentistry is going to be more of what he's created. Because all the economies of scale, in certain environments, I will say that, right? But in certain environments, in certain cities, in certain demographics, it may make more sense to be multi-location.
But it's also, I think it's a hybrid. It's not multi-location, it's not a single location multi-specialty. One of the things that erodes my profit is that I have a lot of specialists. So if I have, let's say, $1 million of revenue and 50% is being produced by specialists, we all have this agreement. I don't know why we have it, but specialists get paid more. So if you look, this is a longer conversation. We actually did a podcast last night about it, and there's private equity and DSOs are influencing the landscape and technology. Listen to our podcast coming out in about a week, and we'll go deep dive into that.
So as you're watching this, look for the Bulletproof podcast. Get it on your phone, find it on iTunes. High energy, as you can imagine. And
it's not PG either.
It's not PG.
Yeah.
It's not G. It's not G. Maybe it's PG.
How about you, Elijah? Top takeaway?
Absolutely. Well, so first off, I think it's extremely important for the viewers and the audience, and also the viewers on the Facebook Live to understand that we want, after each speaker, we want questions. Just a couple of them, but we want questions. So for the live audience, feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. And then for the Facebook Live viewers, we want you to type in the comments exactly this. I am from whatever city you're from, and ask a very specific question for the speakers, and we will be able to actually answer those. In the meantime, while the Facebook Live is compiling, do any of you in the audience have a question for Dr. Craig or Dr. Peter?
The question was, because I have multi locations, how do I create this team dynamic when people are segregated? The answer to that is I have a lot of team members that we act kind of. It's not just I'm this team member at this location. A lot of my team travels, right? We have monthly meetings that we're in person for, and we do a lot of collaboration through videos and stuff like that. But you're right, sometimes we're not physically together all day long. But my team, like they'll go to, sometimes I'll sponsor them to just go to dinners, and, so we're creating this community, and everyone's working together online. Like all of my numbers got compiled, so we're all rooting for each other. So
you have that WhatsApp chat room for your doctors. His phone's always blowing up. Like, look at what we did today. So there's a surgery picture and there's a restorative
so it's amongst
picture.
The docs, amongst the hygienists. So I encourage just everyone to keep talking all day long because we're all driving towards the same goal. But I hear you. Like sometimes it's hard when you're not physically there with someone. But my team does not feel disconnected. I promise you.
Really good, guys. So thank you for the time. Thank you for the incredible performance. I noticed a couple of comments. OMG, I feel like every dental team should watch this. Another one just said fast-paced, attention-grabbing. So you guys have a lot of raving fans yourselves, not just in your team members, but now in this community and online. So thank you for this great performance, great education. Thank you. You want to explain how that works and what's coming next?
So what we're going to do next is we're going to go ahead and go and we're going to do a quick 6-minute bathroom break, and then we're going to come back live with an amazing speaker, Gary Cady. So we're going to take a quick 6-minute break.
And when we come back, that's when you will be able to register on Facebook for your live CE. So when we come back, we'll tell you the instructions and the time frame to register for your live CE. We will see you back here in about 6 minutes. Thank you for joining us.
By maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, I was just done reading it. I just read it cover to cover, and I was like, this guy gets it.
I read that book in one night. He sent it to me right away.
I don't remember if I came across his podcast or his blog, but somehow I came across his book.
I knew I had to get that book.
The difference with Jamie is when I first talked to him, he cared about me and about what my goals were, my dreams were.
He was an amazing person. I could just tell on the phone that he was genuine, that he cared about people, that he was a down-to-earth guy, so happy and optimistic.
You know, Jamie has this process down, and he has the best team members that perfectly fit into each one of those roles.
They really set the path for you to kind of guide you towards the right path. If you go off on the wrong direction, they bring you back to where you're supposed to go.
Your time is worth money. It is well worth spent to have somebody help you.
They tailor everything to what you do and what your vision is.
And once I started working with Steven and Jamie, it was night and day.
It's night and day difference for the quality of life that you can build for yourself.
Ideal Practice Solutions basically takes all those things that you don't know how to do, and they fix everything.
I was put in the right direction in how to run a business.
I don't even know of any other company that does what Jamie does.
Jamie went and got me financing. I had it in like 5 days.
The banks are talking to us. They're coming out to see us. They're giving us money so we can build this awesome practice.
Before I was going to have a small office. Now, you know, this is, I have 6 rooms ready. You know, in dental school, we've never been taught that.
And now 2 years later, we're in this beautiful historic building, and it's everything I ever could have wanted.
Where employees can work and they are happy and they feel fulfilled.
My patients are now just finding me, and they're proud to say hi to me.
Ideal Practices has allowed me to realize my dream of being a small business owner and a private practice owner.
I'm working for myself now and setting my own schedule and doing what I want to do, and I couldn't be happier.
I am stronger, I'm more confident.
Start something that's yours.
I'm going to get to be my own boss. I can do things differently, train staff differently. I can change the patient experience a little bit and do things more my way.
To open my practice and open my doors, I could not have been more excited.
That's what they're there for.
Anybody can do this with a little help.
Doing it just on your own with no help is impossible to me.
There have been so many times where I thought I could not have done this on my own.
I'm just so grateful for that they're, you know, able to make it as easy as possible for me.
I couldn't be more grateful for all the new patients that are coming. In 2 months, we have like over 100 new patients.
This coming Monday is completely full, so. Since we opened, we will have seen 346 new patients.
There has not been a day that I haven't been almost completely booked.
Monday, the phone started ringing. Tuesday, it kept ringing. I don't have time to go quit my job because the phone won't stop ringing.
If I ever build another practice, I'm going to use them again.
Dentists, do you want to attract more high-value patients? Patients who are actively looking for dental implant treatment ranging from $5,000 to $50,000? Driven Dental Implant Marketing specializes in driving high-value cases to your practice. Dental implant marketing is the only thing that we do. We'll develop a proven campaign custom to your location that positions you as the dental implant provider of choice. You'll stand out in your market, even if it's highly competitive. We guarantee your office will receive a minimum of 20 leads per month. And we coach and support your team to convert those leads to patients who say yes to treatment. If you're looking to increase the flow of high-value patients to your office and maximize your ROI, go to the website www.drivendentalmarketing.com and schedule an exploratory 15-minute strategy session today.
Hey folks, Brady Frank here. I want to get you a free book. Whether you watched me live in Orlando or live on Facebook, the book is going to go over the things that I've done over time that will allow you to do it the easy way, not the hard way like I had to do it. Number one, how to add co-owners as opposed to associates to your practice. Number two, how to build your DDSO. That's your dentist-owned DSO, and with a bunch of tax advantages there. Number three, how to invest in investment practices. We call them entrepreneurial satellite practices, but also how to use funnels, both for new patient flow and to automate your DDSO. The main ones, dental savings plan, your own lab, your own real estate portfolio, your own private equity company. We're going to be going over all that, so get your free book by just texting free book to 31996.